nature, and her worse without. And we element three, you see. I should like to think that my errant Jehovah was pointing those arrows of lightning directly at my head, the unbowed head of George Gordon Lord Byron, England's greatest sinner. I cannot flatter myself to that extent. Possibly those thunders of loud Mary Shelley. It was applause for England's greatest poet. While my Mary, she is an angel.
You think so?
You hear? Come, Mary. Come across the storm.
You know how lightning alarms me. Shelley, darling, will you please light these candles for me?
Mary, darling. Studies from Crimson.
I love her.
Frightened of thunder, fearful of the dark, and yet you have written a tale that sent my blood into icy cringe. Can you believe that bland and lovely brow conceived of Frankenstein?
Such an audience needs something stronger than a pretty little love story. So why shouldn't I write of monsters?
No wonder Murray's refused to publish the book. He says his reading public would be too shocked.
It will be published, I think.
Then, darling, you will have much to answer for.
The publishers did not see that my purpose was to write a moral lesson. The punishment that befell a mortal man who dared to emulate God.
Well, whatever your purpose may have been, my dear, I take great relish in savoring each separate horror. I roll them over on my tongue.
Don't, Lord Byron. Don't remind me of it tonight.
What a sitting in that churchyard to begin with. The sobbing women.
In each of these films, there is a common theme that is duplicated. Desecration of a grave, creation of life, escape by the creature, abduction of the bride, outrage by society, remorse by the doctor, death of innocence, confrontation between the creator and the creature, and finally destruction by fire. The graveyard. Dr. Frankenstein and his cohort go to the grave to dig up a body to create his abomination. He represents the ego in the story. The laboratory. Dr. Frankenstein uses electricity by harnessing lightning to create the creature. Man using his power for the ultimate sin. The hubris to create life. The operation. They need a brain for the body, and they go to the hospital, university, to steal a brain to combine with the body to create life. They elevate the body, and the ego is elevated. They expose the being to the elements, and through lightning and electricity create life. It's alive. The creation. At first, the creature seems like a monster, but represents innocence in the film. He is the counterpart to Dr. Frankenstein, the soul. Fear, fire. Fire is introduced in the film to symbolize fear. The creature has a deathly fear of fire and is subdued by a torch. and an injection. Wedded bliss. Dr. Frankenstein goes through with his marriage to the innocent bride, who knows that there is something else going on after viewing the operation that created the monster. Tragedy. The creature who has escaped runs through the woods. An innocent girl and her father are by a lake. The creature comes upon her and they throw flowers into the water to see them float. When they run out of flowers, she is tossed in too. An innocent mistake. Abduction. Dr. Frankenstein leaves his bride to chase the monster, but he comes back to haunt him. The most terrifying scene in the film is the abduction of his innocent bride. The bride is attacked due to the creation of the monster. Dr. Frankenstein feels remorse from the creation of the creature. Town Fest. The people of the town are innocently celebrating a festival in the streets before introduced the terror of the dead girl who drowned in the lake. Innocence shattered by the death of the girl. The collective ego of society is angry at the death of innocence. Angry mob. That night, the town gathers. They take their torches and go through the woods searching for the creature, using the fire that he fears. Fire lights the way for the angry mob. More tragedy. As they hunt the creature through the woods, there is another death. Still they search for the monster. Confrontation. There is a final showdown between Dr. Frankenstein and the creature that he created. They battle it out in a fight between the ego and the soul. The old mill. The being that was created takes the creator, Dr. Frankenstein, unconscious into the old mill. It is surrounded and burned by the villagers. The being faces his fear and seems to be burned alive within the old mill. Resilience. After the old mill is burned and he throws Dr. Frankenstein off the balcony, the created one escapes again through the mill's water system in the basement. Terror. People think the creature has been killed in the fire and no remains are found. But the creature comes out and terrorizes the town again. Recovery. Dr. Frankenstein confronts his guilt, but faces his past through another doctor, Dr. Pretorius. He represents true evil in the story, and Dr. Frankenstein is facing this evil in the form of Dr. Pretorius. He confronts him to exploit his guilt. Premonition. The Bride of Frankenstein, the creator, has doubts and fear. She represents innocence and stays by Frankenstein's side, healing him, but the innocent bride is worried about premonitions of death. Innocence. Throughout the film, the theme of innocence is prevalent. Here, the creature looks into the water and sees what society sees as ugliness. There's a shepherdess on top of a hill who falls into the pond. The creature tries to save her, but is shot. Pursuit. The town rallies the mob again to pursue the creature through the woods. In the final act of desperation, he throws a rock on top of two people. Captured. Frankenstein's monster is captured and persecuted by the crowd. This is the test of the soul, slung into the depths of a dungeon and locked and chained. Breakout. The being breaks his chains, frees himself from the bonds of servitude by the collective ego, escapes out of the dungeon. This could represent the freeing of the soul. Musical effect. The poor creature finds happiness for the first time upon hearing music coming from a cottage. There is true joy in Frankenstein's monster, and we feel empathy towards him. Friendship. The blind man playing the music takes in Frankenstein's monster and turns him into a caring being to the audience. He prays for him, he feeds him, and they both find happiness. The blind man thanks God that they both have found a friend. happiness. The blind man puts a smile on Frankenstein's creature's face. He lights a match, and the fear of fire has diminished. He is truly content. He teaches the creature the word good. Interruption. The brief bliss is interrupted by a knock on the door, where two men from the town see the monster. House fire. The blind man protects Frankenstein monster, but the men attack him and accidentally set the house on fire. The being tries to douse the fire, but in the end, the fire sends him scurrying into the woods. Blackmail. Dr. Pretorius uses the creature to blackmail Dr. Frankenstein. It's a confrontation of the soul and the ego, and the being kidnaps his bride, Dr. Frankenstein's. Atrocities. The operation to animate the new bride is created through the blackmail of Dr. Frankenstein. Dr. Pretorius has done this before, but he needs a new brain. His assistant goes out, captures a live woman who he kills to collect her brain. And Dr. Frankenstein is again riddled with guilt, but he's gone down the path too far at this point. Electricity. While the fire is fear, electricity is the controlling by man fire element. Using a kite to gather the lightning into a lightning rod. When the lightning strikes, the body is reanimated through man and corruption. The new bride. The Bride of Frankenstein is created. She is innocence again, and the creature confronts her and meets her for the first time. This represents true rejection for the creature. His innocence has been shattered by emotional distress. Final resolution. The soul faces his own mortality. He knows, he understands. He saves Dr. Frankenstein and his wife, pulls the lever, and destroys the castle of Frankenstein, forever resolving the issue. Man's creation of a soul energy through abomination destroys himself to again free the ego to live on.